What is up, everybody? It is I, Ronin, and today we're coming at you with I am coming at you with learning how to play Agnister and hmm, how to talk about Agnister. It is a anime archetype that just got recently put into the actual card game, to used by the final villain of Reigns, I believe he is, and it's a going second combo deck. You know how good that is. Those going second combo decks. Not like there's big rocks that just sort of say no to your whole game plan. But you know what? This deck is legitimately pretty good if it can go off. The issue is it going off because you have to open. Well, not exactly specifically, but it's hard to open right. And while I think this is a good deck, I really do, it is not a deck that I was personally a fan of. But let's go ahead and get right into the deck profile so I can get on telling you why. So first up for our monster lineup, we have 3 Pickery at Ignister, 2 Doyon at Ignister, 2 Buru at Ignister, 3 Aichichi at Ignister, 3 Hiyari at Ignister, and 3 Doshin at Ignister. The most important 2 cards in your deck are, well, the most important monsters anyways, are Aichichi and Pickery. Let's go over Pickery first, though. It's a level 4 late attribute Cyburst with 1200 attack, 600 defense. And when it's normal or special, it lets you add an AI spell trap from your deck to your hand. Also, once per turn, it lets you target another Ad Ignister monster you control to return it into a level 4 monster. So the idea behind that is it lets you go into the Light Dragon Ad Ignister, which I will go over later. But yeah, searching the AI spell trap is insane because you pretty much need at Ignister Island or Idle Reborn in order to do much of anything. So if you don't have them, it's always super nice to be able to search them out with Pickery for a summon. Now we'll go over Aichichi at Ignister, a level 2 fire attribute Cybers with 800 attack and defense. And when it's normal or special, it lets you add a level 4 or lower Agnister monster from your deck to your hand except for itself. And at the start of the damage step, if your Cyberse monster battles, you can banish it from your grave in order to destroy the monster that is being battled as a hard once per turn. This is a kind of cool way to avoid battle damage and sort of skip over possibly big attacks. But yeah, the road effect is more important, mostly so because these two, Hiyari and Doshin. They do have some common effects. One, they can both be special summoned from your hand so long as you control a Agnister monster. But from there, their effects vary. Doshin lets you return all of the Link monsters in your graveyard to the extra deck to add I Love It Fusion from your deck to your hand as a hard once per turn, which is their fusion spell. It's pretty much a normal poly, but if you're fusing for an Agnister monster and you're using an Agnister monster's fusion material, you can also use a Link monster on your opponent's field, so it's kind of like a half of a super poly. And then Hiyari lets you tribute a Cyberse monster to add a level 5 or higher Agnister monster from your deck to your hand, which is the Water Leviathan Agnister, which is actually pretty good. And if you tributed a Link monster, then you can add the ritual spell Eyes Ritual as well, and this one becomes level 4. Going over them real fast, Water Leviathan Agnister does a lot of things, actually. It has to be ritual summon with AI's ritual or I's ritual. And if it's ritual summon, you can return all monsters your opponent controls with 2300 or less attack to the hand. You can target one face-up monster your opponent controls, then to return all Link monsters from the grave to the extra deck. And if you do, that monster's attack is zeroed out. And when it battles, you can, during damage calculation, cut a opponent's monster's attack in half permanently. Uh, so yeah, it's really good. It's great for clearing out boards, great for beating over things. It's solid. Now let's go over the 2 less necessary ones. First, Bururu. So Bururu, when it's normal or special, lets you Armageddon Knight a Agnister monster And if it's sent to the graveyard as synchro material for a Cyberus monster, you can target one monster in your graveyard that was used as material for the synchro summon, except itself, and special summon it. The idea behind this is the graveyard setup, I'm not gonna lie, it's not super valuable in this deck. It sets up for Dark Templar, and I guess it makes Idol Reborn more efficient, but that's kind of the best uses for it. Its other ability, though, is far more helpful because it lets you do a combo, which we'll get into later. But yeah, it's a tuner. We can use the synchro monster, so it's all good. Then we have the least necessary one, Doyon Adignister. When it's normal or special, it lets you target an Adignister monster in the grave to add it back to your hand. And if it's sent to the graveyard as material for a link summon of a Cyberus monster, it lets you target an AI spell trap in your grave to add back to your hand as a hard once per turn. So, yeah, generally speaking, what you want to do is open with Aichichi or Pickery, ideally Pickery, but we'll get into why in a second here with the spell traps. So we have a lot of spell traps here. So first we have free Signet Mining, one Terraforming, two I Love Fusion, which we already went over, one Eyes Ritual, which we mentioned, free MST, free Call by the Grave, one Tie Strike, free Idol Reborn, free Ignister Island, and free Infinite Impermanence. So first, the things that you already know. Terraforming searches the field spell. Infinite Impermanence, negate those monster effects from the hand. It can be activated, you know what it does. And Signet Mining, send a card from your hand to the graveyard, add a level 4 or lower Cyberus monster to your hand. Then we have Called by the Grave to stop hand traps because searching is actually super important in this deck, and a Droll or a Ash Blossom really hurts. Free MST because this is a going second deck. We need to be able to tear out that little extra bit of board. And yeah, so that's the staple stuff. We already went over I Love Fusion. Now let's go ahead and go over Ignister Island. So this is the best card in the deck. It is your extender. It is your pretty much your only extender actually, except for like Aichichi, I think. But yeah, it's a field spell, and not once per turn. If you control no monsters in your main monster zones, you can special summon a level 4 or lower Agnister monster from your hand. And for the rest of that turn, you cannot special summon monsters with the same original attribute by the effect of Ignister Island. And you cannot special summon monsters except Cyberus monsters, even if it leaves the field. And if it's in the grave, you can banish an Agnister monster from your grave in order to set this card to your field as that set effect is a hard once per turn. So this is a necessary extender because most of the time you're not going to have monsters in your main monster zone, and they have this Link One boy over here, Lingarivo. His effect doesn't matter too much. What matters is that he requires a level 4 lower Cyrus monster. So if you have two monsters plus a Gnister Island, you you have plays that can be made pretty much is the point. Let's see. Now let's go over Idol Reborn. It is the monster reborn for Agnister as a quick play. It lets you target an Agnister in the grave, special it, and you cannot special summon monsters the rest of this turn except for Cybers. And when attack is declared involving two monsters, you can banish it from the grave and one card from your hand. Then you can target one other AI spell trap that is banished in the grave except itself and add it to your hand. So it recovers itself. It reborns monsters, which is very good in this deck. Yeah, just a solid card. Now we have Tie Strike, another quick play. It says that during damage calc, if your monster battles an opponent's monster, the monster's attacks become the same. Also, the controller of the monster destroyed by that battle takes damage equal to the destroyed monster's original attack. And at the end of the damage step, and if an Agnister monster would be destroyed by battle, you can banish this from your graveyard instead, and that's a hard once per turn. So yeah, basically it just lets you crash, and if it's with an Agnister monster, it protects it. So it's pretty good. Yeah, it's worth running a lot in the side deck, but it's always good at one, I think. We went over I Love Fusion. Now we have Ai's Ritual. It can be used to ritual summon any Cyrus Ritual monster. And you also have to tribute Agnister monsters from your hand or field whose total levels exceed the level of the ritual monster you ritual summon. And if you control an Agnister monster at activation, You can also banish Agnister monsters from your graveyard. So yeah, basically Hiyari sets up for this entire series of events. So yeah, if you want to run Leviathan, then you have to run AI's Ritual, and Hiyari just actually makes that consistent. But yeah, that's the main deck. The main goal is to build a board, break theirs pretty much. But yeah, let's go ahead and get right into the monsters and the extra deck. So the extra deck, the only thing we can sort of skip over a little bit here is the Nightmare package, but everything else is fairly unique, and we are going to start with the archetypal, pretty much their boss monster, Dark Templar Agnister. It's a link-free Cyberse that requires free monsters with different names. And if a monster is special summoned to a zones, this card points to, even during the damage step, you can special summon as many level 4 or lower Agnister monsters from your grave as possible to zones it points to, but their effects are negated, and when this destroys an opponent's monster by battle, you can special summon a Cyberse monster from your grave as a hard once per turn. So yeah, basically it is, yeah, pretty much Dark Templar is the linchpin. This is like the choke point of all of your plays, because if they can stop the Dark Templar special summon effect, then there's really no way you can extend past that. So yeah, it's very important to have run in multiples so you can try to make the same plays. It's pretty good. Our other link one we have, equally as important, I would say, is Lingaribo. As I mentioned, it is a link one that requires one level 4 or lower Cyberse monster. And it says that when your opponent activates a trap, as a quick effect, you can tribute itself to negate the effect and banish the trap. And if it's in the graveyard as a quick effect, you can tribute one other adding Nister monster that is special from the extra to special summon this card as a hard once per turn. So again, the other effects aren't super important. They come up every now and again, but it's mostly here so we can extend our plays, because any normal summonable Agnister will get us started in that regard. Now for the thing that we hardly ever go into, Fire Phoenix Agnister requires 2 or more Cyberse monsters. Has not as good link-free arrows as Dark Templar. And during damage calc, if it attacked, you burn your opponent equal to its attack, and if you do, your opponent takes no battle damage from that battle. And if this card is destroyed by card effect, you can destroy one monster your opponent controls during the next standby phase after this link summon card was destroyed into the grave. You can special it from the grave as a hard once per turn. So it's not bad. The fact that it revives itself is nice, so it gives it its own sort of pseudo protection. The burn effect is pretty decent as well. But yeah, it's most of the time you just won't end up going into this unless you're like trying to burn for game. Is the only thing. So yeah, that's him. Now we also have the last 4 Agnister monsters. We have Light Dragon Agnister, a generic rank 4 Cyberse Xyz. And if monsters you control would be destroyed by card effects, you can detach a material from this instead. And it has 2 hard once per turn effects that you can use. The first lets you detach material from it to destroy a face-up monster your opponent controls, up to the number of Agnister monsters you control. The other is that when another Cyberse you control inflicts battle damage to your opponent, you can special summon a link monster from your graveyard. So, honestly, a really good card. I dig it. And yeah, it's pretty necessary. Now we go on to the Synchro monster, Wind Pegasus Agnister. You will notice quickly that all the Agnister monsters have 2300 attack besides like Lingaribo. But yeah, Wind Pegasus. It's a level 7 Cyberse Wind attribute tuner. Requires a tuner and non-tuner, so completely generic. And during the main phase, it lets you destroy spell traps your opponent controls up to the number of Agnister monsters you control. And if another card you control is destroyed by battle or an opponent's card effect, while it's on the field or in the grave, you can banish itself in order to shuffle back one of your opponent's cards. Non-target. Well, it is targeting, but still shuffling back, so it's pretty good. It's also a hard one to return. Admittedly, less useful. That's another reason why I'm not exactly a huge fan of Boobaroo. But I don't know. It's nice in spell trap heavy matchups just to threaten a few of those. And now we have the last one, which I don't think I've ever gone into. Earth Golem Agnister. Requires a Cybers monster and a Link monster. Has 2300 attack, as per all of them do. And after it's fusion summoned, you take no damage for the rest of this turn. And if it attacks a monster that was special summoned from the extra, it gains attack equal to its original attack and during the damage step. And when this card is destroyed by battle, you can target Cybers on the grave except itself to special summon it. So it's a perfectly fine card. I hardly ever go into it though, just because the Link monsters are at least the Link monsters you initially go into are too important to just lose. So I don't know. Maybe you can run less of him and keep the I Love fusion at 1, but I don't know. I suppose that's your own call to make, but I didn't find Earth Golem Agnister super useful outside of every now and then clearing off a annoying Link monster. But yeah, and then our last extra deck monster, Firewall Dark Fluid Dragon. It's a Link 5 Cybers, requires 3 or more effect monsters, and it's fairly easy making this deck. And if it is Link summoned, you can place counters on it equal to the number of Cybers monsters in your grave of different monster card types, that being Ritual Fusion, Synchro, or Exes. Against 2500 attack for each of these counters on this card during the battle phase only. And it negates monster effects as quick effects by removing those counters, and if these negations happen during the battle was activated while this card was attacking, it can attack yet again. So yeah, it's basically this deck's only turn 1 play, go into a Dark Fluid. But yeah, no, Dark Fluid's a good card, admittedly, but you hardly ever go into it, really. But yeah, so that was the main deck. Now let's go over the side deck real fast, then we'll sort of go over sort of the combo, and then it'll be replay time. So yeah, so as far as the side deck goes, we have free Gamma for problem monsters, free Ash Blossom to back up the Dark Fluid if we ever feel the need to go first, 1 extra of Leviathan, Eyes Ritual, Light Dragon Agnister, and Wind Pegasus in case we ever find those to be more useful. Quick little tip, Water Leviathan, super useful against Generate. 2 more Tie Strike, just in case, it's a battle-heavy deck, and free Red Reboot to negate traps. So, yeah. Uh, Now for the combo, before we go on replays. The combo, I'll say this for the deck. While I'm not a huge fan of it, the combo is versatile where it can have multiple parts. Really, what you need is 2 Agnister monsters, Idol Reborn, and Ignister Island, and that's basically full combo. So you activate Ignister Island, special summon the Ignister monster, make a Lingaribo, special summon the next one. Well, actually, the next one does have to kind of be an Ichichi. You do need to see Ichichi. I'm sorry, I lied to you. You do need to see Ichichi. But yeah, summon the Ichichi. Ichichi will search you a monster. From there, you can special summon because you are not an idiot and you'd searched Doshin or Hiyari. You can go into Dark Templar, add Ignister from those free. Activate the Idol Reborn, special summon something, get 2 more special summons out of your graveyard. And from there, you can just make more extra deck monsters. So, yeah, pretty. It is a pretty specific combo, but with when and if you can pull it off, it is super nuts. But yeah, that's the deck profile. If you're new here, we just watch a few replays. I go over what went well, what doesn't go well, the deck's weaknesses are, what they aren't, so on and so forth, until I'm satisfied, I suppose. But yeah, all that being said, see you guys in the first replay. Okay, one of the first replay was 0. We are Skynet. Yeah, I bet you were expecting an anime reference. Nope, you got the Terminator. And oh yeah, our opponent's playing Dark Magician, and we have opened extremely well here. Basically, we have opened so well because we have Ichichi, which we need to see. a way to get to Ignister Island, a way to interrupt our opponent's turn 1 plays, as well as a way to protect our own, and the Booroo is pretty nice as well. So, yeah, we have opened up extremely well, and our opponents opened up, they opened up okay-ish. But yeah, let's go ahead and get right into it. They're going first, as is ideal for us. So opponent's going to start by activating the Instant Fusion to make the Millennium Eyes Restrict to protect against hand traps, which, I'd say that was a smart play. That was a good move on his part. He's going to activate the Spellbook of Secrets to get the Spellbook Magician of Property, Spellbook Magician of Prophecy. We're going to go ahead and negate that so he does not get a search for that knowledge. So our opponent, though, he is going to go ahead and make Crowley the Origin of Prophecy. He is going to add another Spellbook Magician of Prophecy to his hand. So he activates the Dark Magical Circle, which lets him add the another Dark Magic Circle because of its effect. Activates the Upstart and draws into the Foolish Burial Goods. Activates Foolish Burial Goods to send the Metal Foes Fusion to get yet another draw. And then he gets his Spellbook of Judgment. Then he is going to use his Allure of Darkness, banishing the Magician's Rod. Then he's going to drop a Magician's Rod to special summon the Apprentice Illusion Magician, which is going to search him a Dark Magician, and then he is going to set the Illusion Magic. So, yeah, I didn't realize Dark Magician had this much draw power. I guess I've seen a few people doing like teching in stuff like Crowley lately, so I don't know, maybe that's the thing now. Dark Magician players, let me know, because I'm curious. But yeah, it's our turn. So we're going to go ahead and fire off the Terraform to get the Ignister Island. We're using its effect to summon Aichichi. Aichichi is going to go ahead and search his Pickery. Then we're going to go into Lingaribo from here. Then we're using Ignister Island to summon Pickery. Pickery is going to search us the Idol Reborn. Then we're going to normal summon Booroo. Booroo is going to go ahead and send us another Aichichi. From there, we're able to make the Dark Templar at Ignister. Then we activate the Idol Reborn to revive Aichichi. Then Dark Templar at Ignister is going to revive our other two monsters. Then with Booroo and Pickery, we go into the Wind Pegasus. Because Booroo was used as a synchro material, he will be able to revive the Pickery in our grave, like he does. Then we're going to go ahead and clear out his spell traps. Then with Pickery's effect, we're going to turn Aichichi into a level 4 monster. Overlay into the Light Dragon Agnister. Use Light Dragon Agnister's effect to pop the Apprentice Illusion Magician. Then we're going to attack. We attack for 2300 damage. That activates Light Dragon Agnister's effect in order to special summon a Link monster from the grave, which we do have a Lingaribo. So we summon it, and we would have gone in for some more damage there. I believe that was going to be fatal. But yeah, that's basically the deck going off in its most ideal form, I would say. Pretty good stuff. Clearance on all ends, protection from the hand. But yeah, so you basically saw the full combo and how much you need. That's why, while you do need specific parts for the combo to work, I say it's versatile because there's a lot of ways to search what you need for that combo. But yeah, so that was the first replay. Second replay, things not gonna go quite as well, and I'll see you guys there. Alright, one of the second replay of Semlo, yet another Dark Magician player, because when I was getting my replays for this video, for some reason there were just a bunch of Dark Magician players. This is not the same guy, though. I tried to check the deck beforehand, not the same guy. But yeah, he is going to be going first, and as you can see, he has opened not the greatest in the world, honestly. Like, maybe he gets a good hit off of the Dark Magic Circle after using the Apprentice Illusion Magician's ability to search. The big rock is here, obviously, and that's going to be, we'll go over that big rock later, but yeah, let's go ahead and see what he does here. So he goes ahead and summons the Apprentice Illusion Magician by dropping the Dark Magician of Dark Illusion. Adding the Dark Magician to hand, activating the Dark Magic Circle, whiffing, it appears, dropping the Dark Magician for the Apprentice Illusion Magician again, to search yet another Dark Magician. going into Crowley to get the Spellbook Magician of Property, or Prophecy, not Property. He's going to go ahead and special summon it, or normal summon it, get Secrets, Secret gets him Knowledge, Knowledge will get him 2 draws. Then he's going to hit us with the Magicalized Fusion to make Dark Magicians the Ultimate Wizards. Yeah, he didn't use the draw effect though, which was a little strange. So we're going to go ahead and try to hit him with that MST, get rid of that Dark Magic Circle, in case he has some hidden tech to summon Dark Magicians from his hand right now. Dark Magicians, the Ultimate Wizards though, lets him get a draw because the spell was activated, he draws into another Dark Magician. We activate the Signet Mining by dropping the Leviathan because we do not have the Ritual spell. And we basically have everything we need here. So we activate Ignister Island, we go ahead and special summon Peakery. Peakery searches the Idol Reborn, and from here we can sort of go into full combo once more as you see it happen. This is basically just what happened last game, so I'm not going to go over it too much. Yeah. Then we're going to go ahead and try to recover the Leviathan from our hand, and this is where we get rocked. So yeah, after we did all those plays, we're gonna get a little blown out here. So yeah, all our stuff gets distributed, we get rocks. Thankfully, the Agnister monsters I had summoned do have defense points, so we do have a big token. But that's all we can really say. We're going to go ahead and activate the Idol Reborn. That was a misplay on my part because I forgot I had already activated Doyon's effect. So that was my bad there. Yeah, now our opponent's going to go ahead and just summon the Apprentice Illusion Magician, go for battle phase. The big rock's going to try to attack into our Doyon, but thankfully we do have the Aichichi in the grave to destroy it before damage calculation. Going ahead and making the Nightmare Phoenix to destroy our Ignister Island. Thankfully to destroy something though, so we can use Wind Pegasus to spin back this Nightmare Phoenix before potential shenanigans happen with Orcust. But he is just going to set the Lost Wind. And now it's our turn. We draw. We switch our token to attack mode, rather wanting to not waste hand resources, making it look like something scary. We go ahead and banish for the set effect. I figured this might have been something effect negaty, but I was hoping it wouldn't be because we could just attack for game with the token then. Unfortunately, it is the Lost Wind. So yeah, our token is down to 0. I get the Eternal Soul, sets it, passes, it's our turn again. We get the Idol Reborn. We're going to go and switch our token to defense mode. Try to revive the Dark Templar at Ignister. Go for an attack. Eternal Soul is happening though, so we have to stop. Our opponent now getting a special summon something else with Eternal Soul, go into battle. Just attack over our boy. Goes in and makes the Gradiel, and that's really cool. I hadn't actually seen Gradiel in play, but basically what Gradiel does is it's a towers for any attribute it has as an overlay material, and its ability lets you trade one of your overlay materials for a monster in your opponent's graveyard, so it's really cool. But yeah, so now he's immune to light and dark effects. So we summon Peakery anyways, get the Eye Ritual. We go ahead and banish from the graveyard for the effect as well. You summon Water Leviathan at Ignister. Water Leviathan is going to zero out the Gradel's attack points. However, because I guess it misses timing, it still gets affected by it. So yeah, zeroed out. We got our Link monsters back in the extra deck, however, cannot be destroyed by battle with water monsters now, so he's just taking a chunk. Yeah, it's our opponent's turn. He's going to go ahead and special summon a Dark Magician. Activates the Dark Magic attack in order to blow out our spell traps. Going to go ahead and trade back for a light effect using the Eternal Soul to revive another Dark Magician. Then goes ahead and tribute summons for the Dark Magician Girl, I'm assuming because the Gradle had no attack points left. However, then he's actually going to do something I thought was really cool. So by getting rid of the Dark Magician and the Dark Magician Girl for the beat cop, he's able to put a patrol counter on the Eternal Soul, which actually gives a invincibility shield, so I thought that was really cool. And because the Eternal Soul is still there, it's like, still has options to go with. But yeah, we're going to go ahead and reset the Ignister Island, activate it, attack over the Beat Cop by having its attack. So a little more damage. He does get a DM back though. we're going to go ahead and set the impermanence in the same column as the Eternal Soul. Our opponent's they get the new Dark Magician negation, which is pretty nice. They go ahead and attack over the Leviathan, and here I did misplay. I very much did misplay. I'll say that. I thought something else was going to happen. I thought I was activating a different effect. But yeah, so basically that's not change our hand state at all. We tried to activate Leviathan's effect, but the Eternal Soul protects the Dark Magicians. But yeah, he's going to get another back. We still have this big token that we can't get rid of. We go and activate Signet Mining. He's going to negate that. Not much we can do except for sit on this token as he amasses a field. So he has the Eternal Soul and the Dark Magical Circle. So as you know, this is basically optimal Dark Magician at this point. Yeah, so we're going to go ahead and activate the impermanence, negating the Wee Witch Apprentice, so we cannot get any summons and banish our stuff, at least not yet. So he's going to have to pass, so we were somewhat safe for a turn. We go ahead and summon the Doyon, however, he is going to, at this point, use the Eternal Soul to get a banish. We do get the Hiari back. However, our Doyon is banished, so we can't do anything with it. Yeah, so he goes and activates the bond between teacher and student to get the Dark Magician Girl back, as well as setting the Dark Magic Burning attack. Summoning a Dark Magician, obviously going to banish the token, and then use attacks for gain. So yeah, that just shows the deck's big problem. You know, obviously the Rock is a problem for any primarily combo-based deck, but for this deck in particular, there's just no way to really make a comeback from that. Like, you all saw me trying, but I couldn't get rid of the token. I couldn't, you know, do anything at that point, but it's because of that token there. But yeah, so kinda the deck's one of its big weaknesses, and yeah, now we have one more replay, which just showed the deck's other weakness going first, and sort of its one play. I'll see you guys there. Okay, on the final replay with Goku, who's playing Psy-Frames, and we're going first, and with Aichichi and Ignister Island, we basically have full combo here, so that's pretty good. But yeah, so we're gonna go ahead and get started. We're going first this time, keep in mind, so that's pretty nice. Alright, so we're going first. We activate Signet Mining, discarding the I Love Fusion, because that's not going to be helpful here. Gonna go ahead and search the Pickery. So we activate the Ignister Island, special summon Aichichi. Aichichi searches us the Bururu. Then we're going into Lingaribo. We go ahead and special summon our Pickery at Ignister to search the Idol Reborn. Normal summon Bururu. Bururu will send the Doyon, make the Dark Templar, revive Doyon so we'll be able to get a at Ignister back to hand. And for the sake of chain blocking. But yeah, basically we get the Aichichi back, and now we get to summon Pickery and Bururu, which was going to make the Pegasus, and as you know, that will allow us to revive Pickery and make Light Dragon. As like that. Now from here we go into Dark Fluid with 2 counters, backed up by a Call by the Grave. Yeah, this is basically the turn 1 board. I will show you. This isn't a great example of us dealing with stuff, but this is basically what this deck does turn 1. Make Dark Fluid, and if you ran like Ash Blossom or a few other hand traps in here, I'm pretty sure you could actually make a decent going first-ish at Ignister deck. So I mean that's a thing. But yeah, let's go ahead and just yeah, we can go through the rest of this duel. It's long and annoying, but we can do it. So he's gonna go ahead and get the Mystic Mine, and yeah, that's all I want to show of this duel. I will show the rest of it just without like commentary or anything, because I honestly hated this duel. I hate playing in Psy-Frame, and I feel like most people won't want to watch me sitting here for like 5 turns because mine. But yeah. So I'll go ahead and do the outro stuff real fast. Then I'll just play the rest without commentary on my end if you're interested in that. But yeah, just so final thoughts on Ignister. I honestly didn't like this deck. I was not a fan of it, but I can definitely understand why people would be a fan of it because it's honestly a pretty decent deck, I think. But yeah, going second combo deck it's just not in a good place with how the meta is and how, things are in the TCG. I'm not super aware of how things are in the OCG, so maybe they're kind of blowing up there, but I would not know that. But yeah, I like the deck is cool. I didn't like it though. Final thoughts. And yeah, that being said, like if you liked, comment if you have something to say, subscribe if you want some more. This has been Ronin, signing off. Enjoy the rest of this replay.